Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Capricorn, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of November. I hope you well. I'm using the Night Sun Tarot for you today. Do I have anything to tell you? No, not really. There will be a reading at the end of this if it resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper. It's the first link in the description box. I'll close the window in a moment. The second link in the description box is the 6-month overview that I did for each of the signs. That's knocked down to, I think it's less than half price now. So if you haven't had a chance to check it out and you would like to, now is probably a good time. Hope Mercury retrograde was kind to you. Just kicked the shit out quite a few of the signs. But let's have a look and see what's going on with you. You have 3 cards for Capricorn, please. Oops. Here we are. We have the Knight of Wands and Strength in your recent past. In your current energy, we have, thank you, the Lovers card of Gemini in the Major Arcana. And what is coming towards Capricorn, please? Thank you. We have the 4 of Pentacles. We've got the 10 of Cups at the bottom of the deck, which is a very good card. It's a card of, emotional fulfillment of more than just one. And indeed, behind it, we have the 2 of Cups there, which is a coming together of more than one. It's 2 people coming together in a state of alignment. Whether that is a romantic relationship or a business partnership, friendship, family, it's not limited to just boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, spouse sort of situations. It's intimacy, honestly. And those 2 cards together are very, very pleasant indeed. We do have the 5 of Cups sort of nestled behind there though. So we're going to come back to that because I feel like that may come up at some point. But let's get some clarifiers and see why these cards are here on the table right now. Let's dump a bit more of that in there while I've got the window open and it's quiet. She says, Lord. So, why is the Knight of Wands and Strength here, please? Thank you. We have the Ace of Swords. Ooh, we have the Devil. There you are, Capricorn. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. Why is the Lovers card here, please? We have the 2 of Swords. Repeating the message. It's the Lovers card. And the 8 of Cups. And tell me about the 4 of Pentacles, please. We have the King of Pentacles, which is it's Taurus energy, but it could well be you, Capricorn. There's 4 of Pentacles. We have the Hierophant in reverse. Okay, we have the 2 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. There's with a couple of 7s sat behind it. 7 of Swords and the 7 of Pentacles there. And the 4 of Cups. Which feels sticky. It feels really, really sticky. Actually, as I'm sitting here, it's kind of awful. There's an awful feeling in my sort of just below my chest, actually. I don't know what that is. It feels like things are coming to a point, Capricorn, where they cannot be ignored anymore. That's how it feels here. These 2 7s are very uncomfortable energies. I mean, we seem to be seeing 4 iterations of exactly the same character, interestingly enough. I'm going to just hold these cards up so that you can see them. So there we have the 2 of Pentacles and we see that dark-haired chap with the red hat. The next card along, we see the same dark-haired chap, but his hat is a little bit smaller there. He has altogether lost the hat here in this 7 of Pentacles, and he looks really quite dejected in this card here. Leave that for a second. It seems to be a process. If I was to call it anything, Capricorn, I would call it a process of humbling. And I don't think it's necessarily going to be terribly comfortable, I have to say. But let's get on with the main part of the reading, because I feel like all these shadow cards are all going to kind of weave together further in. So in your recent past, we have the Knight of Wands and we have Strength. Now those are Sagittarian and Leo energies respectively there. So there's a lot of fire there, right? And the Knight of Wands can be many things. It can be living in the moment, you know, it can be taking advantage of opportunities as they present, and perhaps that is something that you've been doing, because we do see the Wheel of Fortune under here, and you know, if opportunities are popping up in front of you, it's often the purview of the Wheel of Fortune. But we also see the Strength card, and even just the way that these characters are stacked here, it again is speaking to me of a process of growth, starting from something initial but and quite sparky, but not necessarily entirely material yet. It's like the idea of an opportunity that you can pounce on, but then with that Leo energy kind of expanding it up into something more fixed, something more material, something that can be depended on. And the Strength card can indicate, you know, you as a person growing, for sure. There's an awful lot going on here in this card. I'm gonna have to shut this window, look. I swear. Right, let's take a look at that. There's a snake wrapped around the bottom of the card. Not something that I usually pay any attention to, but it is there. We cannot see its head or its tail, but we can see the body. And snakes are associated with wisdom, and if, you know, you were growing as a person, then we would expect to see there being some wisdom there. Oh, we've got the Ace of Swords, the Devil, and the Wheel of Fortune. And it feels like you've come to a realization, Capricorn, and I don't think it's one that you wanted to accept. Perhaps it is at this point that you have spent some time, you know, very studiously ignoring a particular fact, but it's here and it can't really be ignored. Now, I don't know if you are dealing with a Sagittarius or a Leo, potentially even another Capricorn, but I don't think so. Because if you are dealing with either of those signs, it could be that you've had a big realization about something, because although the Wheel of Fortune does talk about opportunities and taking those, the way that I tend to read it is a teaching moment. It is you finally understanding the lesson that has been being, you know, put in front of you for whatever reason. Now, the reason why I say that I don't think that you're terribly happy about it because of these cards down here. This Two of Pentacles, this Seven of Swords, this Seven of Pentacles, and this Four of Cups. You know, the Two of Pentacles, it speaks about needing to juggle things, right? Needing to keep things in balance. And sometimes this could be referring to, you know, your work-life balance, something as obvious as that. But it could be a bit more than that. It could be that there are emotions rolling around underneath that you don't like to look at very often. Simply because there's something quite destabilizing about them, right? This whole thing is rather precarious, this positioning here, when he's trying to juggle these pentacles for eternity. Then we have the Seven of Swords and the Seven of Pentacles and the Four of Cups. And what does seem to be being suggested here is that in the act of trying to keep everything balanced, to keep everything aligned, keep all the wheels moving as they are supposed to, what it is that you seem to have noticed is that there has been a great deal of self-deception involved in this process, right? You have deceived yourself about the situation that you find yourself in, whether it is really as good as you thought it was. You know, this is a card of deceit here, and it can be active deceit by other people, right? The ways in which somebody is pulling the wool over your eyes and it comes to light and you're like, holy shit, that's a thing, right? But given that it's following on from the Two of Pentacles, which is a card of the internal, all cards number 2 deal very much with the internal space. It says to me that you have deceived yourself about something. And Seven of Pentacles, Four of Cups. Something about the life that you are living right now, you have told yourself is good. You've told yourself that this is what you wanted. You've told yourself that it's perhaps better than it actually was. And it seems like the scales are falling from your eyes in some way, Capricorn. Like it's being revealed to you in such a way that you cannot now turn away from it anymore. Now this could be absolutely to do with work. We could see that. But it could be to do with your emotional state as well. It could be a combination of the two. It could be where you've been working so hard to avoid your emotional state, you know? Try not to linger on that point too much, because I do get the odd Capricorn being quite snarky with me about that. But the predisposition is there, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention it. We've got this Four of Cups at the bottom of the deck here. And it feels like everything that you've realised is bringing you back to this point, this Four of Cups, where perhaps you've realised that in some ways it doesn't matter what you have, you're not going to be happy until you deal with whatever the Four of Cups represents to you. Now, it's often a feeling of being rejected. Sometimes it can be rejecting it in and of itself. You know, what are you rejecting at this point, Capricorn? But we're in Scorpio season now, and no one escapes Scorpio season without a little bit of introspection, you know, a little bit of deeper looking into themselves than they might ordinarily be comfortable with. And it seems like you're just kind of sitting on the ground now and going, well, fuck. You know, I've put a lot of effort into assuring myself that everything's fine, this is fine, everything's cool. You know, and any bits that aren't cool are going to get fixed very, very soon. But suddenly and unexpectedly, it seems that that's not the case. And it's so not the case that you can't not pay attention to it anymore. I'm staring at these cards and I'm noticing some correlations here between them. Obviously they're coming from different decks, but we've got the Devil sat next to the Wheel of Fortune, and obviously there's this kind of like Anubis type devilly thing here on the bottom of the wheel. But we've also got a snake on the other side, and the snake is here. And it's chasing you round the wheel, Capricorn. Look at that. There. Now, snakes associated with wisdom, like I said before, suggest to me that this is something that perhaps you have always known deep down. Right? And this is the thing that jars with you. You have always known this deep down, and it's chasing you about now, and it will not be ignored anymore, whatever this is. And it feels like it's a huge realization that you've had, one that you've already, you know, always known, that is now rearing its head at you, and you're like, oh, well, shit. Yes, that's true. And now I have to accept it because I've seen it. I can't really put everything back in the box anymore. It feels like everything's out of the box now. So it brings us to your current energy. And we have the Lovers card. Now, yes, this can talk about relationships. It can talk about, you know, union of two people, for sure. But its other meaning is a decision. There is a decision that needs to be made here. And we see it echoed down in the clarifiers, because we've got another card here of needing to make a decision. But in this one, her back is to the moon, her back is to the water. She is blindfolded and she's holding two swords. It's like everything is conducted on a logical level here, and she needs to make a logical decision between these two effectively identical swords. But she's not consulting that which would give her the answer. Now, the fact that she's gone to such lengths not to do that says to me that she already knew what the answer was, and she didn't like that, she didn't want to do that, and therefore she was studiously ignoring it. But under this, it feels very much like, should I stay or should I go kind of energy, right? We've got, in the Eight of Cups, somebody realizing that whatever situation they're in at the moment, it isn't actually giving them what they want, and it's time to move away from this thing. Where we have here somebody absolutely static, somebody who is continuing to keep the blindfold over their eyes. Back to the water, back to the moon. Let's put them the right way around. They were like that. You know, static versus movement. Keeping everything the way that it is versus taking a risk and trying to find something new, trying in fact to find your ninth cup, which is what is going on here. Like, it seems to me like you've run out of options, Capricorn, because as much as it feels to me that you would like to stay in this situation here, it seems like there is now too much that has gone on. Now, whether this is in your workplace, whether this is with friendships, whether this is indeed with the relationship that you find yourself in right now, it feels like there's been too much illuminated now. There has been too much thrown up for you to pretend that it's not there anymore. And now you need to make a decision. You need to make a strong decision. I'm going to err towards it being relationship rather than work, because we have this 10 of Cups and 2 of Cups here, but we do have this 5 of Cups underneath that, grief and loss, and we have the 6 of Swords behind it too, movement away from what this was. Because of this 5 of Cups, it seems like there's something in what has been revealed to you. There is something shown to be missing. Now, whether that's within you or within someone else, I don't know. It's hard to say. But at this point, the only thing that's really important is that it has now been illuminated, and you have seen it and you have acknowledged it, and it's altogether too difficult to put everything back the way that it was before. Now, when we come to November and what November has for you, we have the 4 of Pentacles, and that is a card of, it's often called the miser card, because we usually see a chap who's depicted clutching this pentacle to his chest. He has one on his head and he's got his feet planted on one each on the floor. Now in this one, we've actually got vines growing through the pentacles here. It's a card of hanging on to something, right? Because you don't believe that it's going to come back to you in any meaningful way. I mean, that's why misers hoard money, right? Because they're afraid if they spend it, it just won't come back. And it's about the keeping hold of it. It's about the acquisition thereof. And we have the King of Pentacles sat underneath there. Now, in some ways, the King of Pentacles is going to, well, could possibly be interpreted as someone who understands the value of pentacles and therefore holds them, right? Keeps them, and there he can sit here in this, you know, state of lavish luxury here because he's got all the pentacles, and that's all good. But we have to remember that the King of Pentacles is a progression, right? He is actually, with the Queen, the pinnacle of the suit here. So everything that is contained within the Pentacle suit, including the 5 of Pentacles, the poverty and the lack, you know, the miser card here, that it's a journey where wisdom is acquired along the way, right? And we understand that we can't hoard things because ultimately everything is lost. You know, there is more than just the material around. And I'm speaking in abstracts, right? I'm not talking about specifically about your money, right? And he understands sometimes that you have to speculate to accumulate, that you need to let some pentacles go so that more pentacles can come in. You know, it's kind of like energy needs to move, it needs to flow. And the lesson of the King of Pentacles is that you get to be here by allowing things to move in and move out as they will, and trusting that what comes next will be better for you. You know, if you can maintain that sense of perspective over what is coming. But the final card that you've got here is the Hierophant in reverse. And this really is kind of the critical card for me, because if this had turned up in the upright, I would have seen you holding on to what you have, Capricorn. Going, no, it's always been this way and it's always going to be that way because I say so. Yeah, that's just what's going to happen. You know, I am actively holding on to things and they're going to stay. Like, they're rooted. There's foundation here. There's longevity here. But it's come up in the reverse, where this is a very stable energy. Taurus, again, interestingly, both of these cards, you might be dealing with a Taurus. Very, very stable cards. This is destabilization. You know, this can often has an institutional vibe to it, so we can, you know, anything that has a societal structure in it in some way built into it, whether that is, you know, business or churches or, you know, schools, universities, anything like that, you know. This is it breaking apart. It can be a card of divorce, because in the upright it can indicate marriage. So, you know, it could well indicate a separation away from. And I think this is the thing, right? It's a separation away from whatever it is that has been an established structure in your life. Whether that is the particular place that you are working right now, whether this is we could even be talking about your faith right now, Capricorn. You know, if you are, no, it's just Christian, right? If you found yourself questioning your faith recently, it could be that November sees you walking away from that and looking for answers elsewhere, because I think whatever happens, you can't stay where you are in light of what you know now. Yeah? Could be a relationship, you could be walking away from someone, but I don't think it's going to come easily for you, because there is this, the overarching card is trying to hold on to something. Now perhaps what it is leaving you in some way, you know. We could see this as you being fired from work potentially. I feel like that, to be honest. I'm going to pull one more card because I hate leaving things on like super depressing cliffhangers. Tell me about this Hierophant in reverse, please. Thank you. We have the Seven of Cups, Hierophant in reverse. We have the Five of Swords. We have the Wheel of Fortune and the King of Pentacles. Oh. There. The wheel is permeating right the way through this reading, Capricorn. There's an important life lesson here for you. And if you can find it within yourself, there is a lesson that is pointing you here towards something much, much better in the future. If you are open to it, if you allow the energy to move as it will. Remember, the King of Pentacles is not a miser. He does not hoard all of this stuff and not share it. No, it's about building. It's about creating. And you know, there's a lot of rigidity here, Capricorn. It's a very rigid card. It's quite rigid card. This is a very rigid card, but it's up this way, right? It's about dissolution, like things coming apart. And whilst it may lead to some discomfort for you, we've got the Seven of Cups there, which speaks about, you know, emotional confusion, but also emotional illusion, you know, like, oh, I'm coming back to that Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck here, the shadow cards. You know, the ways in which you've deceived yourself about maybe what you want, about what you're prepared to put up with, the conditions that you will live in, the behavior of the people that you are around, you know. It's being broken apart for a reason. Now, a note that we don't have the Tower here, and I'm not actually surprised about that, because that Tower is very sudden, it's very shocking. I don't feel like what is going on here is a shock to you. I think the initial realization of that which you've been ignoring possibly might have been a little bit of a shock, but I don't think so. I think it's more of a kind of kicking yourself sort of vibe more than anything else. You know, and what we might see here is just the ways in which you have grown apart from that which you were holding on to for such a long time. That's a good way of looking at those two cards here. But it's pointing you towards the fact that if you want to grow, if you want to become that King of Pentacles, you need to learn, you need to know when to let things go. You need to learn when to let things go, and you need to trust that what comes is much better suited for you than where you are right now, even if you don't want to let go of it, even if you can't see that just now. It's a strong message, Capricorn, but at this point, I think you are going to be doing yourself a massive disservice if you try and hold on to this. Because whatever you feel like this gives you, whether this is a job or a relationship or whatever it is, I think the more damage that you will accrue to yourself, and the longer it will take you to right yourself back up again and go out and find that ninth cup, go and find the thing that is for you. Does that make sense? Right, I'm going to go over to Vimeo now, and we're going to pull November apart a little bit, because he looks really uncomfortable, to be honest. See a lot of disagreements, a lot of verbal disagreements. It's like the pressure cooker building and building and building, you know. So we're going to go over there. We're going to go have a look at that. We're going to see if we can get some advice for you as well. Like I said, if you're interested, that's the top link in the description box. But if not, no shade, don't worry. Just remember what I've said and try and ride the energy a little bit more than planting your feet in November. That will serve you better. Okay, know that I love you all very, very much. And I will see you soon.